Hey guys, Reset Sniper time. Academic elitists have invented a new way to rig voting in the future. That's right. This is what we're listening to today. We're talking Reset Sniper. We're on a Zero Hedge article, and there's so many tie-ups that need to be made in this article. It's one that people will skip over without thinking twice. So I feel the need to come in and help people pick out a few key points. And it ties up with so many of the Reset Sniper concepts. So first of all, they're going to make it into a tokenized game. In other words, think of this kind of like as actuaries and mortality curves. They can control you by giving you multiple tokens of votes so that you do more portfolio type voting. This is going to be baffling you with bullshit. It's called quadratic voting. And what this actually does, they're saying it stops future outlier events. In other words, your second and third choices where you give tokens, if you have 100 tokens and you give a bundle to one and then second and third, is going to stop the outlier event occurring that they don't want to have happen. But actually, it gives them the game of portfolio theory where actually like actuaries that have mortality curves, they don't need to know when one person's going to die. They just need to know the big, diverse likelihood of mortality curves on a portfolio of people. And they can then subsequently control outcomes. There's some interesting book called Nudge that is coming. But there's so much to this that, you know, this is that opening gambit. Don't be turned off by that if you think, voting, who cares, I don't vote. Wait and see all that is involved in this particular example. So they are kind of a concern about nationalist tendencies is seen as a problem that has to be solved. Now, these academically gifted rising stars, Paul Krugman will have been at one point an academically gifted rising star at one of the key academic, totally politicized universities. Consider Chicago, Yale, Harvard, maybe Columbia or Californian in there, MIT, who knows. They're going to solve the world's malfunctions, as you see here, solving the world's malfunctions. They can't even solve their own. Now, what are they going to do? Well, I want to skip ahead and just show, more importantly, who's involved in the game so that you know why this is actually a big, big attack that you're not even seeing. And it's all about making you feel more like you have choice and more like participation, whilst they themselves can more radically control the outcome with just a few key elements. So they speak of, for example, the concept of this quadratic voting here. They were able to employ, as per the Sunstein's book, promote control through the hidden hand, letting the public think they are developing their own views and opinions, whilst governments secretly nudge them towards the book. So the book Nudge was the Sunstein libertarian paternalism. So they need to, whilst selling it to you as a liberty-based thing, to get the libertarians on board. Where have we seen this before? Bitcoin, crypto. This is libertarian money. It's saving you from the Fed, saving you from the banking system. It is a ledger that every single transaction you make will be captured for life eternity. And it will be greater control, and it is a beginning of breaking down of national boundaries. This is the downside of crypto that nobody sees, that they're bringing this, and it is a beginning of breakdown of national boundaries. So this senior researcher, this is not the first time I've seen this guy's name come up. And I think he was involved with Vitalik Buterin on Ethereum when I absolutely stoned Buterin for this, and this Glenn Vile, which is how I'm choosing to call him, Vile, it may be Wheel, I don't know, but Vile's good for me, was talking about the benefits of UBI and the ending of personal property rights. So here you have people coming at you, saying this is for your liberty and UBI and money for all and and the end of this nationalist, right-wing thinking, but true liberty, and they are the biggest communists, and they are set up to bring these initiatives. They are paid high salaries to sit in academic, they get coverage, media, so that their ideas get sold. Radical new thought leader will put an end to outlier political events and extreme swings to the left and right with the new quadratic voting system, etc., etc. These are their headlines, and actually it's going to give them greater control over you while giving you an appearance of greater choice. And this is actually based on, and it mentions Go. They say Japanese Go. In fact, if you go here to Go and you search Chinese or Japanese Go, my brother's the highest ranked, one of the highest ranked European descendant players of Go. You can see it was a game made 2,500 years ago and still played today. More permutations and combinations in Chinese Go than all of bridge and chess added together. It is a highly permutative game, but China was the original, even though I'm sure Japan has their own version. Even if you search for Japanese Go, you get the fact that it is the Chinese thing. Give credit to where credit is due. So anyway, so the whole concept of this is they've recently cracked the AI that can beat the best Go player. It's all coming, lots of things been working, and you see these as separate events. They are actually got AI system that will know how to control an election in one of the greatest permutation and combination games, that will tell them what they need to do to nudge the collective. It doesn't matter what you individually do with your tokens. It's about whether you live long and you're insured in life cover or you die early. They are managing the aggregated outcome of the portfolio that they are insuring lives for, like they do actuaries in life insurance. And this is how, as sheep, you will be managed. And you will be nudged by key social media influencers. Key social media influencers who will make certain statements at certain times and will give a nudge or a little bit of a cue just before the key voting idea so that the hidden hand can operate. And they turn it into a game that they will be able to manipulate. And in other words, the concept of being pushed into mainstream consciousness slowly, but by a globalist control press. So let's have a look at the people behind this. So, who is involved in this globalist press? In fact, I've gone too far down. Sorry, I made it so zoomed out. I'm jumping around a little bit in the article. There we go. Bloomberg's expose on the method even describes it as such. It will eliminate the zeal lottery amongst voters. Now, here's this very sinister aspect. Wheel is a proponent of universal basic income. Here I am right here in the article. And is a partner with a group called Democracy Earth. We will have a little look at Democracy Earth right now, which claims to be pursuing decentralization. So every time they use that decentralization word, they're trying to say, for you, my libertarian friends. For you, my libertarian friends. Decentralization. While focusing on the erasure, the removal of national borders. So it's Democracy Earth. It's for the globe, the world, democracy world, not just you in your country. We want a universal scheme. Think universal, think UBI. And the globalization of democratic governance. No, I didn't want to leave the article. Sorry, take me back. So the exact opposite of decentralization. The one world, the old one world order type thinking. So Democracy Earth has a rather impressive list of mainstream partners on its website. Let's zoom in, including the Altlantic. I'm going to come back to you on who the Altlantic is. The BBC. Fancy that coverage that seems to be so bad on Brexit. The antagonism towards pro-clean break Brexit politicians versus the soft touch towards, we'll do a deal, we'll do a nice deal, we want to stay friends, softy, worky, and the Lib Demi green type absolute malarkey of working with the European Union. Never mind the goddamn voters. the BBC, and the World Economic Forum. Good old at WEF. Always at the scene of the crime, just like Goldman Sachs on the banking front. And these are the people that are part of Democracy Earth. Now, Democracy Earth has become a kind of crypto, yeah, cool, borderless community. Note the borderless, cute little baby hugging the globe. It's everywhere. You don't have to just be a nation. You're a human. Anyone who is a human. Here we go. It's no longer about you're a Greek and Italian or whatever. You just have to be a human. Where is it? Where is all this thing? Down, Francis. Self-sovereign rights, basic income. Lots of references to it. Quadratic voting. This is where they're introducing this idea in this leading edge development area, aka crypto. This is how they seep ideas, get them established in one realm, and then they proliferate them down into the downside of the mainstream world. Oh, here we have the Altlantic, MIT Technology Review. Oh dear, oh dear. Oh, the BBC. How could we have not guessed about that? A socially smart world in a world that has succeeded in the globalization of financial assets while keeping political rights in closer. We need to build a new models of democratic governments. Democracy Earth Foundation is building free open source software. Yada. Blurb, blurb, horse. Let's have a look at these people. The Altlantic. Okay, so if we talk about the Atlantic Council, this is, well, first there's the magazine, and then there's the Atlantic Council. So they are tied together. Now, the Atlantic magazine, here it is, and you are going to find a certain gentleman's name. Oh, we don't want to see your articles. Thank you very much. Spare us your propaganda. This is, of course, is WikiLeaks. I'm not WikiLeaks. Anything but WikiLeaks, Wikipedia, which is going to tell you exactly what you say. Jeffrey Goldberg, no surprises there. And Atlantic, the kind of articles they do, they were doing an interview with Henry Kissinger, who just happens to be part and parcel of the Atlantic Council. So this is fascinating. The lessons of Henry Kissinger in the Atlantic. So Goldberg interviewing essentially his boss in the world. Now, people truly need to do a little bit of learning on this individual Kissinger. Everybody generally knows and assumes and accepts, but what you truly need to do is get a proper understanding about all that he's done in his time and his associations. So let's trust Wikipedia, shall we, to tell us a little bit about Henry Kissinger. And let's go with that one. So there he is on his Wikipedia. Let's go to his Wikipedia part. You'll see over here, this is where he's involved. Down here, the Aspen Institute, the Atlantic Council, Bilderberg Group, Bohemian Club, Council for Foreign Relations, Center for Strategic and International Studies, Theranos Health Technology Company. You can bet how the word health belongs in there, Kissinger. And he's received the following awards. Theodore Roosevelt American Experience Award. All these awards. Rothmere American University of Oxford, Henry Award for Public Services, Israel's President's Medal Award. I'm not surprised by that. He's been put to the International Olympic Committee, an honorary member, the Silent Assay Award, United States Military Academy Award at West Point, Knight Commander of the Most Distinguished Order of St. Michael and St. George. What is this? This sounds a little bit Masonic for me. Go look up that, hit that link and find out more. Medal of Liberty, National Book, and what I was saying about the Nobel Peace Prize, by me, right back in 1973, Henry Kissinger was given a Peace Prize. Wow, does that not say it all for the Nobel Prizes? What a shame and shambles and absolute political gobshite that Peace Prize has become, and from then it's no surprise they were prepared to give it to Obama. Kissinger received the Presidential Medal of Freedom from General Ford. Awards to this man and his enrollment in the Atlantic Council. It was the Atlantic Council that simultaneously saw all social media giants that had called in, all of them pool their coverage for Jones and a number of other people that were all simultaneously banned in a major slapdown on media coverage in social medias. It was the Atlantic Council. Head of the Atlantic Council was Henry Kissinger, and still the honorary head. History since 1961. This is your Atlantic Council. These are the people. Theodore Achilles, recognizing the need, So who spoke before? West relations in the East. The council convened a major, featuring speeches by Ronald Reagan, then president, candidate Michael Dukakis, Zbigniew Brzezinski. Wow, another man that is almost second to Henry Kissinger in his role. Think Soviets, Afghanistan, everything. Colin Powell, Brent Scowcroft. These guys absolutely are control structure to their core. Go read the full wiki on what they say on Henry Kissinger and recognize that this is running PR scam for him, by the way. Trilateral commission all over there. There were lots of things made of him being a swinger. This guy's a perv. After he's dead, wouldn't surprise me to almost have a Jimmy Saviles-like revelation. He was the ugly as sin man, German Jew, born in Bavaria. They changed the name to Kissinger because there was a town, Kissingen, was nearby, that he was in fact a Loeb, L-O, Loeb, German Jew, and he is absolutely loathsome in every single way, in every single thing that he has done. He has control structure to their very, very core, and geopolitical consultant. In other words, I get paid a whole bunch for people to come and tap into my influence because I've been given all of this power. That I've largely just abused. What was it saying here? In a chat recently, he said he made jokes of his reputation as a swinger. Where was it? Played a prominent role. I've no doubt that this guy has probably all sorts of, in my mind, perversions that he's got away with. Because he's an oily customer, but that's just speculation on my behalf. So these are the people that are bringing you. These are the people. Throw in the BBC with it. Look at this phony crypto type, blockchainy type, voting new dynamics, UBI. These are the people that bring you your global world communism. They talk of libertarianism and they bring you communism. If I need the libertarians on board, I go via crypto, blockchain tech. I talk freedom. You're a human. You're not a country. You're not this. All of this sort of thing. I undermine national boundaries. I'm wanting to smash it all down. That's what blockchain and crypto. We no longer have money that is geography based. We're going to have money that is just across the boundaries that everybody understands. This is the beginning of the game, and they will bring in UBI, and they intend to attack private property rights. Did I show you that? So these we must find that aspect. Get the goyim off the land. Get the goyim off the land and tell them how free they are, that they can't own property anymore. That is the game. Why we believe the system of one sustained promotes. Go learn on your Talmudic doctrine for how people are towards you. The illusion of, let's see, where we, majority rule, it gives false hope, false recognition, change for the petitioner. This text is so small, sorry guys, I have to find that bit where he was talking about, yeah, this is why it's likely in the event that the elites gain the complete totalitarian and centralization they want. They will still allow voting to continue in one form or another as long as they're certain they can control the outcome. Voting is an absolute waste of time. It encourages them and convinces you that you're being heard. You just have to look, apart from referendum, which are yes-no questions, which they absolutely hate. And people truly, the people that voted for Brexit, absolutely, the political party, it's an absolute waste of time unless you can keep backing the extremists that are not controlled. It literally is. You have to vote extremist. What they call extremist, I mean, Brexit Party is called an extremist party because you want to not be tied and conglomerized to an EU parastate. BBC will tell you you're extreme right. They will tell you you're extreme right while they force their communism and they're stripping away of private property values as part of their future agenda, while they talk about quadratic voting for the future, which they can portfoliorize and model with AI. Even more greatly, that they can utilize Bernays and other aspects such as the book of Nudge, where they can use established social media heads to create and push people towards certain viewpoints that will see them behave in a proper sheep's way and do what sheep are supposed to do. He wrote this veil, Radical Markets, Uprooting Capitalism and Democracy for a Just Society, a treatise which desperately tries to present itself as libertarian and championing of free markets, while at the same time declaring a private property a monopolistic injustice. You owning a home is a monopolistic injustice that should be dissolved into a communistic public commons. They don't use that word communistic. The book also contains Weil, let me call him Weil, I'm sure it's Wheels, but anyway, why he believes the system of one person, one vote must be changed. Yep, in some ways, one person, one vote is pretty sick, but you don't want to be changed for what these guys are bringing. Hence the book Nudge. Go read this article. This is how they intend to roll democracy earth. Wow, what can you say about these guys? There are dark, dark forces that are gathering around the Atlantic, the BBC, and the World Economic Forum. What an alliance of propagandists, if I have ever seen them. And you wonder why your BBC gives you the coverage they do on the Brexit Party. My goodness, wake up. The globalization. How does it be globalization if you opt out of the EU, which is conglomerating you all together? Of course they're going to resist. Of course they're going to fight you. He's going to be referred to as a rising star and a genius of our time, much like Elon Musk and Neil deGrasse Tyson is. These guys get given reputations. They get given friendly media. They get other powerful people they've established to give great kudos to them so that you look up to them and you do what they told and say, I know less. They surely know better than me. I'll go along with that as my view. Take back your own critical thinking. Do it now. Do it now. These people are coming. You will be turned into tenants and usury extracted into every single goal. Your voting system will be as relevant as it was to vote in the Zimbabwe elections, by the way. And by the way, if you have a look through that Kissinger item all the way through, apart from all his clearly perversions and other elements about him, you will see that he was the person that's encouraged with John Forster. Where's my Zimbabwean friends? According, here we go, Rhodesia. Each one has a story, how they pulled the rug on Ian Smith and how he was saying, oh, my wife admires you, to Ian Smith, to hasten the transition to black majority rule. One man, one vote sure didn't work well there. And forcing Ian Smith, who said at the time, you all are making me sign the death warrant to my country. And of course, that's exactly what transpired. Ian Smith was right. It was the end of his current country. This awarded by Israel and all the control structure, academic character, saw the fall of Rhodesia to majority rule. which was a tragedy. Everybody is worse off there. Why didn't they bring in their quadratic voting system according to contribution to the nation in that state? No, because it serves them, and it served them again in Southern Africa, even though it will be to the detriment of both those countries. It will happen, but now we'll have quadratic voting where they do want that kind of thing to happen, where you have weighted ballots and amounts to earn. So anyway, long old rant. Go read the history of this man to understand the carnage and the litany of millions of dead souls that walk behind him. Oh, by the way, how's this for charming? So for my Jewish followers, if I have any, have a look here. On Soviet Jewry, his statement was, the immigration of Jews from the Soviet Union is not an objection of American policy. If they put Jews into gas chambers in the Soviet Union, it's not American concern. Maybe a humanitarian one. These guys are absolutely phlegmatic to anyone that is not a full-blown Zionist. They feel nothing. How can you make a statement if they put Jews into gas chambers in the Soviet? It's not an American concern. How can it not be a humanitarian? How can it not be a human concern of that kind of behavior, regardless who you are? But this is the pragmatism, the realpolitik that you see here. It's called realpolitik. I call it psychopathy. Anyway, that's the difference between real people and your control structure handlers. You're just a number, you're sheep, you're cattle. It's just a culling taking place somewhere else. There's plenty of them around. It's an ant farm, doesn't matter if you stand on it. There's millions more. That is the view that pervades. Anyway, so endeth the rant on this man, Henry Kissinger. Watch out what is coming. Become suspicious of any thought leader, a new thought leader type person that comes out. Become suspicious heavily of blockchain in terms of its role of denationalization, which means border reducing, one world order, and become suspicious of new voting systems, and always look to who is backing it, and see for yourself how the BBC has committed itself politically to a certain kind of group of people, extreme leftist, global, Bolshevik, communistic processes that will see eventually private property, maybe not for your generation, but for your children, be taken away. You will all be tenants of the land. That is shocking. It is shocking. And Ethereum Vitalik was talking and sharing a stage with Mr. Vile, probably Veal. Okay, bye for now.